This is LCE Graphics training video number 16. Today we're doing a training video on the Bourg Feeder, AGR-P Stitcher, PAPS folder with back register, and the TR trimmer new style. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to give a quick reference on how to set just the initial setup. First of all, in setting up your stitch heads, all you need to do is just fold your paper like I did here into fours, and you just insert it here, putting the center fold right in the middle of your eject roller, and your stitcher head swivel should be right on the center of where that fold is and on the other fold to the left here, and that gives you the position of your stitch heads for 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17. Now what I've done is I've marked them on every machine that we ship. Right here you'll see marks that are marked for 11 by 17. As you do sizes that you do frequently, you can put your own markings in there, 11 by 17, 8.5 by 11, 12 by 18, any sizes that you do repeatedly. Now 12 by 18, 11 by 17, not necessary to change stitch head position. You just move your side guides out, because everything on these booklet makers goes down the center, not to one side. So all you have to do is move your side guides out. You can leave your stitch heads in position for everything from 11-17 on up to 12 by 18. You may want to move them in a little bit when you go to 8.5 by 11. So what I do when I go to set this up, first thing I do is I hit the stop button on my stitcher, and then I take the collated set that we're going to use as our setup, and we're going to insert it. Now the feeder goes ahead and feeds the set into the stitcher, as you can see, but now we need to set the back jog position. You see the little back jogger moving back and forth on our DA. So what we do is we push this back. See how I'm pushing it away? And then when I let it go, you see how it goes right back to the stops? That's how you know your DA is set properly. If the DA is set too hard, the set will bounce off the stops. In other words, if that vibrating jogger hits it too hard, it'll bounce away, and then it's possible that the staple head can come down and stitch when it's away. Now, that's your back gauge, and that's adjusted by this adjustment down here at the bottom. You loosen this and turn the knob to move the stitch head left to right to apply a little bit more pressure to the back jogger. Now, the side jogger is this adjustment here. Now, all the covers are off this machine, but it's the knob that controls the side jogger. You'll know which one that is. You push it in. Now, notice how when you push in how the set buckles a little bit. Watch this. You see how it buckles upward? That's what you want, just a little bit of extra push. So that's what helps you get a good accurate stitch, because the machine stitches when it's in this mode, and that way you're assured that your set is nicely jogged when the staple takes place. Now, what we're going to do, now we have to push the stop button on the folder, okay, and we're going to go ahead and start the stitcher up, and we're going to stitch the set and send it into the folder. Now we're going to have to slide it in manually, because the folder's not running, but there's no problem there. Just manually feed the set in all the way to the stops. Now if your stops are not already set, this is where you set your stops. Right here you can see the stop. Right there where it says 17 inch, it's marked there for 17 inch. So it's measured in metric, in millimeters. So, 25.4 millimeters to an inch. It's very easy to calculate. So the fold will take place right in the middle of your 11 by 17. So figure that out at 8.5 inches. But anyway, I always mark these because as you run, you'll find that you're probably going to use 5 or 6 standard sizes that you're going to use repeatedly. Some people run 11 by 17 or 12 by 18 and nothing else, so it makes it simple. But anyway, the part we're going to set now, we set the stops to position where the fold's going to happen. Now we can see our carrier conveyor balls. What I do is I put the conveyor ball about 1/2 inch ahead of the edge of the booklet. The reason for that is to not only push the booklet against the stops, but to also hold the booklet down so your back register can do its job. Now notice the back register. You see how it comes up to push against the booklet? Now if you look closely, you'll see that the back register is off just a hair. See it? Now, by using a 1/8 inch T-handle, I mean a 3mm T-handle, you have a small screw right down inside there. You'll see it. You loosen it, and then just nudge your back jogger forward. Then resecure the set screw, and now you've set your back jogger. So you want your back jogger to push up against the booklet and just hold it there. You don't want it to push so hard that it's buckling the booklet. You don't want it to be, you know, 1/8 of an inch away where the booklet has a possibility of bouncing back and being out of registration. So that's a really good feature of the new style folders that have the back register. Now we start the trimmer, the folder. Now the trimmer, all you have to do over here is set the backstop. Now these are your stop pins. Again, your covers are all off, and we always leave the covers off until we're done testing the machine. Right here you have your 4 stop pins. Now what happens is, as soon as the booklet hits the switch over there, this mechanism pulls and the drop pins drop. Then the booklet hits the drop pins, it stops there, and then the guillotine, it's timed so many milliseconds, the guillotine cuts. Now you can see I have it set right here at 8 3/8 of an inch, which is typically, if you're going to run 11/17, you're going to have to trim at least 1/8 of an inch. Sometimes a little more than 1/8. Keep that in mind if you're running a thicker booklet, because the thicker the booklet, the more you have to trim off. Because when it folds, you know, the thickness of the paper pushes the inside out, away from the fold. So you have to trim that excess off to give it a nice finished look. So that's all you've got to do with this. You just loosen the set screws on both sides, operator side and non-operator side. Move it to the position on the scale. Now here, they have an SAE scale. Somebody put that in there because it comes with a metric. I'm glad they did that. Probably something we should try to do with all of them, but it's so hard to find these rulers. Anyway, this is an 8 1/2 inch scale, SAE scale. So you can set it at wherever you want to trim your booklet. And now basically it's set. So all you really have to do is to position the folder. Now we've got that done. Now we're going to run the set out of the folder into the trimmer. Going to trim the booklet. And now when you pull the booklet out, you can check to see if the trim is where you want it, if the stitch is where you want it, or if the fold is where you want it. Now, of course, adjusting the folder, the stitcher can be adjusted right here at the stop fingers. The position of the stop fingers determines where the stitch happens. Also on the stop fingers on the folder, the position of the stop fingers determine where the fold happens, and the position of the drop pins in the trimmer determines where the trim happens. So that's basically a very simple setup. I mean, in just a few minutes you can change sizes on this machine. The only thing that's really required to change sizes, of course, is you have to keep in mind that you have a different plate for the different size booklets. This will handle up to like 12 by 18. You'll need another smaller plate if you're going to go to 8 1/2 by 14, and another one for 8 1/2 by 11. We provide 3 stitch plates with this machine. We provide the 11/17 plate. We provide an 8 1/2 by 14 plate and an 8 1/2 by 11 plate. If you need any other plates, they're optional. You can order them from us to whatever. If you have some specific, odd size that you want a booklet size you want to run, you can let us know what that is, and we'll get the plate to match it for you. And this basically completes our initial setup video. If you have any questions, you always feel free to give us a call. Thank you very much.